The Nigerian police force has concluded plans to engage thousands of special constables to work with conventional policemen in communities as part of measures to check rising insecurity in the face of insufficient manpower. The recruitment of the special officers, which would be announced any moment from now, has received presidential backing and is expected to start in Kaduna and other northern states, where the traditional emirate and district structures support the system. The Force Public Relations Officer, DCP Frank Mba, confirmed the plan and explained that the candidates for the constabulary would be between the ages of 21 and 50 and must be physically fit and gainfully employed. The men, who will not be armed, are expected to handle charge room and administrative duties, crowd control, accident scene duties, alternative dispute resolution, and other less sensitive and less risky functions. They're expected to dress in police uniform, but with a different force number to distinguish them from the regular cops. Still with us in the studio to speak on this is social entrepreneur Olaima Opara Signature. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, considering the reasons given, is this direction beneficial to the fight against insecurity in this country?
You know, some of those time, the questions oftentimes and what shows up in the media is, it always gives every Nigerian a reason to wonder if these people who handle the affairs of this country truly have this country in heart. For me, policing in other climes around the world has gone beyond manpower. All right, it's called 21st century today because man have learned how to employ machines, how to employ technologies to tackle a lot of social problems. So the question is, do we need men in that sense to police us? Outside this place, developing nations all over the world, what they do with a CCTV camera, you do all kinds of investigations and all of that, and then you reduce the level of manpower in that sense.
But considering the kind of environment in which we operate, you do know that we're not as modern as we would want to be, as we would like to claim that we are. There are so many logistics, and do we have the financial strength? What is the comparison? If we choose to go technological, do we have the financial strength to do that, or recruiting would be more beneficial as it would employ more people?
The first thing is, what does technology do or employing machines? What it does is that it creates speed for us. You know, aside from the fact that it creates speed for us, it also helps us reduce costs. All right. Beyond the fact that it helps us reduce costs, it also reduces stress. Yeah. So are we developed to have it? Yes. There are other nations of the world who are doing so. Nations who are not even richer compared to the kind of nation that we have today in Nigeria. So the question is, if we're not employing technology, that's because there are some individuals who are possibly profiting from the decay of the system or the misery in the system. All right, so with a CCTV camera, for instance, you have a lot that you don't need a policeman for. All right, there are other technologies where you have an alarm that can, of course, shoot every time you have an issue, social unrest and all of those other issues. When the alarm goes off, then you see the policemen come in those situations and then rectify the situation. So for me, I think the issue about manpower, insufficient manpower, is not insufficient manpower. It is insufficient innovation. All right. I think our police force have not been thinking enough. And the truth about it is that with the current indices that we have, that Nigeria is over 201 million, all right, today. You can never have a country where the police will be enough to, in that sense, provide security for the entire Nigeria.
Okay, even though you don't seem to, support these volunteer officers to help with security, do you see Nigerians buying into this idea and volunteering because they're targeting pastors, imams, teachers, journalists to be part of this group? Do you see Nigerians actually coming to help, considering the insecurity we have at the moment?
I think it's quite a very good idea, but for me, it is not about the idea, it's about how authentic and how much these ideas can last. Yeah, because we live in a country today where we provide everything. The average church provides their own security. So have they been helping the police? Yes. The average community, we live in different estates around us where we provide our securities ourselves, we provide power, we provide virtually everything for ourselves. There's nothing this government is providing for us. So have we been supporting this police? Yes. Have we been doing volunteer jobs? Yes. For instance, I had a situation last year where the local police station around the area where I do my social works, they shot at this young guy and then the guy died. and it was a very tough one. I stepped in, and then I mediated between the community and then the police, because the young guys, they were very aggrieved. We were going to go burn down the police station. So I stepped in, and then I mediated between the community and then the police, and then we saw that what was supposed to lead to more other lives being lost was brought to an halt. So have we been volunteering, supporting the police?
Yeah, but in the capacity that they're wishing to, employ now, it seems other strategies might have been helpful, but it's still not enough to address the issue of insecurity. So do you see Nigerians actually willingly volunteering? Of
course. I have always volunteered to the police service. A lot of these imams and pastors that we want to get involved now, the ballets of different communities and all of those things, chiefs in every different communities. So people have been volunteering for those police force and all of that. Now, but the question is not about volunteering. The question is, what do we make out of volunteering services, or whether being employed or whatever? I think that when we come and then we talk about symptoms every time, we cure the symptoms, but the problem remains the problem. All right, so we should think of innovative way of policing. And that's the reason why I was talking about employing technology. It's called 21st century, because man is learning how to employ technology, machines, innovative. If I were talking about AI now, artificial intelligence. So how do we bring these things into our police service or our police commission? For instance, we talk about manpower, and we look at it at the numerical strength, but we looked at the quality of manpower. Have you been to the police college in Ikeja and see how these men are trained? Have you seen the moral attitude and the ethics of these policemen? Yeah,
they're talking about that. The IG was suggesting, or rather, I think it's actually an instruction now, that they should have an 8-hour cycle of work. Officers should not work more than 8 hours to help with fatigue and these, accidental discharge situation. But in the past 2 weeks since that instruction has been given, we've not heard much, and we hear from media reports that some of these police stations across the country are not complying with this because of, again, this issue of manpower. Do you see maybe these volunteering helping to address the situation?
There are other communities. You see, for me, I think that the volunteering services, calling for volunteers to be a part of what the police is doing, of course, great idea. The point I am stressing is that we have always been, whether obligated to us or as volunteering service, we have always been policing ourselves. We've always been supporting the police. Now, but for me, what I am saying is that it is not important that we take this discussion further from how do individuals volunteer on obligative duties to now how can we employ other innovative ideas on policing.
Okay, before I let you go, what's your general thought on this insecurity that we have seem to be rising in the country? What's your general thought about how the government and security agencies have been handling it?
Basically, it is the head that moves the tail. All right, so in other words, we cannot talk too much about anything that we say without talking about leadership. We have seen a government that have not shown true value for human life. We have seen a government that have not shown true value for human life, and then that's the reason why insecurity is always a challenge. The insecurity problem in Nigeria is rising by the day. Today in the north, today in the south, the next day the west, and all of those things. So it's rising by the day. So the insecurity challenges, I think, it's always a function about the credibility of our institutions, the credibility of our governance. Do we just make things for the media, or we make things because we want to solve problems? So if we're concerned about solving real problems and valuing human life, we must start to look at innovative ways, integrating more innovative and people-engaging ways to solving these problems beyond just eye service.
Thank you very much for coming on the news.
Thank you very much for having me.